Time now for our rants and raves, starting with Dan Lothian.
Well, I have a rant for soon-to-be former White House spokeswoman Sarah Huckabee Sanders. There's so many different ways that I can take this, but I'm going to focus on the fact that she hasn't had a White House briefing, which was tradition, daily briefing. She hasn't had one since, I believe, in March, almost 100 days since we have had one of those briefings. And, from the outside, folks will say, well, reporters, why do they need to get information from the White House? It's all, they're going to report their own thing anyway. But it's the one time when I was covering the White House, you don't have access to a lot of different people on a daily basis. It's the highest level person in the administration that you can have contact with. You can ask them questions. Yes, it may be the fact that they'll lie to you, they'll evade, whatever it is. But it's a way for you to sort of put it on the record that you can go back to it later on and say, we asked them on this day about this. We asked them on this day, and here's what they said. And when you don't have that, I think it really takes something away from daily reporting at the White House. There could also be the argument that it's not her fault, that she was told not to do that, and I get that, but how did she stay in a job like that where she was not doing her job?
All right, John has, I think, a counterpunch.
Well, my rant is respectful disagreement with your rant, because I have no affection for Sarah Huckabee Sanders and the way she did her job. She was an admitted liar, fronting for a pathological liar. Not a pretty sight. However, first of all, just parenthetically, none of her predecessors in my lifetime covered themselves with glory. That job is about spin, evasion, and a lot of other things before it ever gets to truth. But I don't think anything is lost by the death of the White House press secretary briefing. First of all, they've been replaced by frequent availabilities with the man himself, which to me are much more newsworthy than the watered-down lies that Sarah Huckabee Sanders is putting out. And to the extent that it got more members of the D.C. press corps up off their tushies and out of that room doing some actual reporting, it's all for the good. I don't miss them one bit.
All right.
Tushy is a part of the anatomy.
Will they hire a replacement for her?
I don't know. Good question. Maybe they
don't
won't.
really need
the president will do it.
He saved the taxpayer $85,000 or whatever it is. Yeah.
Dan Kennedy.
I have a rave for Ryan Mack of BuzzFeed, who was taking a look at a photo of a group of 17 Silicon Valley executives that was taken in Italy at the home of Brunello Cucinelli. Bruno Cucinelli. No. He's a fashion designer who they were visiting.
A good one.
And he took a close look at it and he said, there's something wrong about this. So let's take a look. This is the original photo, which was not the photo that Ryan Mack first took a look at. The photo he took a look at was, let's see, there we go. 2 women had been photoshopped into it. And the GQ picked up on it. Yeah. They thought that, this is nice. Yeah. But Ryan Mack said there's something wrong with this. Now, Cucinelli's PR people put out a statement that said no harm was intended. These women were actually there. They just didn't make it to the photo shoot. But given how few women there are in Silicon Valley, this was a horrendous look, and good for Ryan Mack.
That was really a good catch. Yeah, I saw that earlier. It's great.
Crazy.
All right, Callie.
I have a rant for CNN. They do these profiles of people, so they're doing one of Melania Trump called Melania Trump, Women of Mystery. And it was set up to be a softball. Let's take a look.
I'd like to introduce my wife, Melania.
Join CNN for a rare visit to the East Wing of the White House to discover
what is Melania Trump really like.
Now, Kate Bennett actually covers the First Lady, so you would think that there might be some edge and some insight to it. I am not opposed to doing, you want to do a fluffy piece, do a fluffy piece. But you cannot do a piece and say you're really talking about who she is without asking her about the birther stuff. She was a big birther along with her husband. That has to be asked. These questions have to be asked.
What about the bullying stuff?
Yeah, and the bullying, all of that. All of that has to be taken. If they want to see how to do a good profile that balances both having your friends talk about you and also other people bring up critical points and ask the right questions. Let's look at Frontline, the choice. You know,
I'm
so-
sure they wouldn't have gotten the interview. If
Well,
they
but
had.
and I think this is part of it, actually, Emily. I think this is their way of trying to see if they can get on the good
Yeah,
side of
yeah.
somebody, and that does not work. That doesn't
All
work.
right, a lot of rants tonight. I have a rant for the New York Times, which this week announced it was dropping all of its editorial cartoons. As you recall, a couple of weeks ago, we did a story about an editorial cartoon, a political cartoon that ran in the international edition, widely condemned as anti-Semitic, clearly anti-Semitic. It was a bad choice, and they made some excuses at the time. But now, it's just a complete, total knee-jerk reaction. Political cartoons are the lifeblood of American journalism. They're wonderful. They're often controversial. They're often offensive. But that's what they are. That's the purpose of it. You can make a mistake. This was a mistake. They ran something that was a mistake. It didn't even run in the national edition. But to then just blow up the whole concept just seems ridiculous to me.
When was the last time the national edition ran a political cartoon?
No, this is in the New York Times International.
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 Yeah, sorry.
Yeah,
New York Times
so it was-
International
it was
edition.
crazy.
Yeah.
This
That
is
was
really a bad
stupid.
Yeah.
decision.
But now they've made it
them all
across
out.
the board that
Yeah.
they're eliminating
Great.
all of
Isn't
them.
that how it always is, though? It's like you could have just handled this in the right way.
But more and
apologized
more and
whatever.
more,
You just go.
Journalism is totally handcuffed, and this is the
It
way
is,
they
yeah.
respond.
Handcuffing themselves.
Exactly.
Right.
Right.